There were 200 extras on set that day. 200 faces that nobody bothered to learn. But Tom Hanks noticed one of them. A man in the back row trying to hide a limp. Trying to hide his pain. When Tom found out why that man was limping, he stopped production. What happened next cost the studio $150,000 in delays, and Tom Hanks didn't care. If you love discovering the untold stories behind Hollywood's greatest legends, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This one will stay with you. September 22, 2003, Boston, Massachusetts, 6:30 a.m. They were filming a crowd scene for a movie, one of those big shots where hundreds of people walk through a street, pretending to live their lives while cameras roll. Extras are invisible. That's the job. You show up at 5 a.m. You wait for hours. You walk back and forth in the background while the real actors do the real work. Nobody knows your name. Nobody asks how you're doing. You're furniture that moves. Anthony Reeves had been doing extra work for 3 years. He was 34 years old, former construction worker, former husband, former homeowner. Now he was none of those things. Now he was just a guy who showed up at film sets hoping to make $85 for 12 hours of standing around. 3 years ago, Anthony had fallen off a scaffolding at a construction site, 30 feet down. He shattered his left leg in 4 places. The doctors saved it, but barely. He walked with a permanent limp now. Couldn't do construction anymore. Couldn't do much of anything that required standing for long periods. But extra work? You mostly just stood there. When the pain got bad, he could shift his weight, hide it, pretend he was fine. Today, the pain was bad. He had been on his feet since 5 a.m., 4 hours of waiting, 2 hours of walking back and forth across the same street. His leg was screaming. Every step felt like a knife. But he couldn't sit down. If an assistant director saw him sitting, he'd be sent home. No pay, and he needed the $85. His rent was due in 3 days. So Anthony kept walking. Back and forth. Back and forth. Trying not to limp too obviously. Trying to disappear into the crowd. He didn't know Tom Hanks was watching. Tom was sitting in his chair between takes, waiting for the crew to reset the shot. He liked watching extras during these moments. It was a habit he had developed early in his career, back when he was an extra himself. Back when he was invisible too. He noticed the man in the back row, tall, thin, wearing a gray jacket that had seen better days. Every few steps the man would wince. Subtle, quick, like he was hoping nobody would see. But Tom saw. "Hey, Danny," Tom called to his assistant. "Who's that guy? Gray jacket, back left." Danny looked. "No idea, just an extra. Why?" "He's hurt. Look at how he's walking." "Probably just uncomfortable. These shoots are long." "No, that's pain, real pain. He's hiding it." The director called action. The extras started walking again. Tom watched the man in the gray jacket struggle through another pass. When they called cut, Tom stood up. "Where are you going?" Danny asked. "To talk to him." "Tom, we're about to shoot your close-up. It can wait." Tom walked across the set, past the cameras, past the crew, into the sea of extras. People parted for him like water. They stared, whispered. Tom Hanks was walking toward them. "Why?" He stopped in front of Anthony. "Hey, I'm Tom." Anthony stared at him. Tom Hanks, the Tom Hanks. Standing in front of him, hand extended. I know who you are, sir. I'm Anthony." "Anthony, you're limping, pretty badly. What happened?" Anthony felt his face go red. He had been caught. This was it. They were going to send him home. No pay, no rent. "It's nothing, sir. Old injury. I'm fine." "You're not fine. I've been watching you for an hour. You're in serious pain." "Please, Mr. Hanks. I need this job. I can't afford to go home. I promise I won't slow anything down. I'll stay in the back. Nobody will notice." Tom looked at this man. Really looked at him, the worn jacket, the desperate eyes, and the way he was literally begging to be allowed to keep suffering. "Come with me." "Sir, please." "I'm not sending you home. Come with me." Tom led Anthony away from the crowd toward a quiet area near the trailers. He grabbed 2 folding chairs and set them up. "Sit." Anthony sat. The relief was immediate. His leg stopped screaming. "Tell me what happened." Anthony didn't know why he told the truth. Maybe it was the way Tom was looking at him. Not with pity, with recognition. "I fell. 3 years ago, construction site, 30 feet. Doctors said I was lucky to keep the leg." "Lucky?" Tom repeated. "That's what they said. Didn't feel lucky. Can't work construction anymore. Can't stand for long. Can't do much of anything. Lost my job, then my wife, then my house." Anthony stared at his hands. "Extra work is all I can get. It's not much, but it pays, most days." "How long can you stand before the pain gets bad?" "Couple hours. Today was worse. I don't know why. Some days are just worse." Tom was quiet for a moment. "What did you do in construction?" "Electrical, mostly. I was good at it. 15 years. I was about to become a foreman when I fell." "You know electrical work?" "I know it better than I know my own name." Tom pulled out his phone and made a call. "Hey, Mike, I need you at the set. Now. Yeah, I know we're shooting. This is important." 10 minutes later, a man in a production jacket jogged over. Mike was the head of the electrical department for the film. Cables, lights, generators, everything ran through him. "What's up, Tom?" "Mike, this is Anthony. He's got 15 years of electrical experience. He's also got a leg injury that makes standing for long periods difficult. You have any jobs that are mostly sitting? Control boards, monitoring, anything like that?" Mike looked at Anthony, then back at Tom. "I mean, yeah, we're always short-handed on the board. 12-hour shifts, but you're sitting the whole time. Pays about 4 times what extras make." Tom turned to Anthony. "You want the job?" Anthony couldn't speak. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. "The job, Anthony. Do you want it?" Yes, I want it, but I'm not in the union. I don't have the certifications anymore. They expired when I couldn't pay the fees." Tom looked at Mike. "Can we get him certified?" "If he knows his stuff, sure. We can do a test today. If he passes, I'll bring him on as an apprentice. The union will process the paperwork." Tom turned back to Anthony. "You pass that test, you have a real job, real pay, sitting down. Can you do that?" Anthony was crying now, not loud, just tears streaming down his face silently. "Yes, I can pass it. I know this stuff. I know it cold." "Then go with Mike. Take the test. I'll make sure nobody bothers you about leaving the extra pool." Anthony stood up. His leg still hurt, but somehow it didn't matter as much now. "Mr. Hanks, why? Why would you do this for me? You don't even know me." Tom smiled. "I was an extra once, a long time ago. I know what it feels like to be invisible, to wonder if anyone will ever see you." He put his hand on Anthony's shoulder. "Someone saw me once, Anthony. Gave me a chance I didn't deserve. I'm just passing it on." Anthony passed the test. He knew electrical work the way most people know how to breathe. Mike hired him on the spot. That $85 day of extra work turned into a $47,000 per year job, with benefits, with health insurance that covered his physical therapy, with a union pension. The production was delayed 3 hours because of Tom's impromptu intervention. The studio wasn't happy. Someone did the math and figured it cost them about $150,000 in lost time. When a producer complained to Tom, he said, "Take it out of my salary." They didn't, but they stopped complaining. Anthony Reeves worked in the film industry for 15 more years. He became a department head himself, running electrical crews on major productions. He never forgot what it felt like to be invisible. He made a point of learning every crew member's name, no matter how small their role. He retired in 2018 with a full pension and enough savings to buy a small house in New Mexico. The day he retired, he wrote Tom Hanks a letter. "Mr. Hanks, you probably don't remember me. September 22, 2003. I was the extra with the limp. You stopped production to talk to me. You got me a job that changed my life. I'm retiring today, 15 years in the industry, a career I never thought I'd have. A life I never thought I'd live." I've thought about that day 1,000 times. Why did you notice me? There were 200 people in that crowd. I was trying so hard to be invisible. But you saw me anyway. I figured it out eventually. You saw me because you were looking. Most people don't look. They see extras as furniture. They see limping men as problems to be avoided. They don't want to get involved. But you were looking. And because you were looking, you saw. That's all it takes, I think, to change someone's life. You just have to look, really look, at the people everyone else walks past. Thank you for looking at me, Mr. Hanks. Thank you for seeing me. Your friend, Anthony Reeves. Tom keeps that letter in his desk. Every time he's on a set, surrounded by extras and crew members and all the invisible people who make movies possible, he remembers Anthony, and he keeps looking. Because you never know who needs to be seen. You never know whose life is hanging by a thread. You never know when stopping to ask, "Are you okay?" might be the thing that changes everything. Tom Hanks knows this. That's why he keeps looking. That's who he is.